Hello, this is Trisha Schmalhofer here with Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics. Bam! I am so excited for today's guest. It's Maria Dockery. She is the owner of Femme, Fatale, Arms and Training.
Hi, Trisha.
Hi, I'm so glad that you're here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's, this show's about badassery. And when I think of firearms and women really embracing their inner badass, that comes up, empowering. One of your taglines is you're a female empowerment professional.
Absolutely. I think that women tend to have different needs when it comes into introducing them into firearms, and we kind of cater to those needs, and we actually help women feel comfortable in a way that they're more familiar. So yeah.
You do a good job.
Thank you.
I'm going to share my personal experience about Maria and her brick and mortar store. I was newly single and living alone.
Yeah.
And I don't have children, but it just kind of dawned on me. A friend of mine and she was also single, living alone. We just started talking about, the state of affairs today. Maybe it's time to look at firearms. And we decided, I heard about your store from Deidre Beecham, who did some marketing work for you.
Wonderful lady, yes.
Yeah, fabulous
she
lady.
She did some great work.
Shout out to you, Deidre. And she said, hey, check this place out. We came in, and it's like two little nutty, crunchy, hippie girls coming in, and we're like looking around, and we noticed accessories for women where you can carry firearms, all the safety stuff. But we went up to the counter, and it wasn't you, it was one of your employees.
Okay.
And she was just lovely. She let us hold the firearms and showed us certain things just right there at the counter. I think we spent an hour and a half in there.
That's not unusual. Mm-hmm. We really made our environment, we really considered how women are comfortable shopping. And we made the store a ladies' store. So all of the stuffed dead animals and the hardwood floors and the testosterone that sticks to the bottom of your shoes kind of thing. We don't have any of that, okay? Women come in and they look around and they're like, wait, I'm comfortable here. And that's what we want you to feel comfortable, because buying a firearm for a woman is not a comfortable process. Mm-mm. And we really need to have, we need somebody to just kind of hold our hand and walk us through the process and introduce us. So that's what we do is, you come in, you get the vibe of the store, you feel comfortable in there, and then once you start talking to our staff or to Richard or myself, we even go a little bit further to make you feel comfortable. We listen to your questions, and we actually give you a free mini lesson, so to speak. And basically it's just putting that firearm in your hand and start giving you a little bit of foundational knowledge that you need in order to be able to even select a firearm before you start shooting.
Right. And there were, in the glass case, there were all kinds of firearms with all colors, and then there was the traditional, Glocks and we wanted to hold all of them, even the purple ones, the pretty purple ones. Yeah. But I also, and we were talking to your employee. What's some of your employees' names?
Oh my goodness, we've got several of them.
Okay, dark hair, short dark hair. She does some of the training, but this was about a year and a half ago. Okay. So it doesn't matter. She was lovely, and Perfect. She was explaining. She was showing where she carries her concealed firearm. Mm-hmm. And then she was telling us about the trainings you do on Saturdays, where you can fire a variety
yes.
of firearms, because how you're holding them in the store and how they feel when you fire them are different. They can be different.
And we want to let you know what to expect. So first of all, you want to try the gun in the store, and you want to see how it fits your hands, because it's like buying a pair of shoes. Somebody else can't tell you hey, these are the shoes that you need to buy. If you walked into a shoe store, you wouldn't the shoe salesman wouldn't go, hey, lady, these are the ones on sale, buy these. And most importantly, husbands. Husbands' hearts are in the right place. They really want to get their wife into shooting. They want to get her, to defending themselves. And they're so excited when women, we start to show just a little bit of interest.
Yeah.
A lot of times, though, they're tempted to go out, buy her a gun, bring it home and go, look, honey, and surprise her with the gun. And that's just the same as knowing what size shoe your wife wears, going out and saying, look, honey, I bought you these size 7 sandals today. You don't do that, because women, we have to touch it, feel it, and see how it fits. And when you get a fit in the store, that's a good start. You can choose several firearms that fit. Then when you take the class, we bring those firearms to the range, and then you'll actually be able to shoot it and feel what it feels like. Mm-hmm. Different calibers, we go into that with our little mini lesson, so that you understand the size of the bullet and what characteristics are with the guns that have that bullet. So the smaller bullets tend to have an easier slide, not always though, and the larger bullets feel differently. So you have a little bit of an education. Well, I want to try a 380, I want to try a 9mm, and then you make the decision there on the range. Oh no, I don't like this, or I love this, but I love this one more.
Yeah, you are so right on. That's why you have a business.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of women that says, yeah, I have a gun that my husband bought me, but it's this big clunky thing. I don't even really know how to fire it. But in case someone breaks in the house, I know I have it. Yeah. But it's, women, it has to fit. They have to connect to it. You have to love the gun. And when we make a connection, and that's a difference, women, we got to make a connection with something. If we connect to it, we're more likely to carry it. We're going to love it. Some women even name it. Yeah.
Okay, and that's the gun that she's going to carry with her. If the guy runs out, buys her a gun because he's excited, she's interested, and she doesn't like the gun, it stays in the bureau drawer, it stays in the closet. That's not protecting her there. You need a gun that she's going to carry. And sometimes they try to put a price tag on that, and the gun that she really likes may be a little bit pricey, but you think about you putting a price on her safety. If she really likes that gun, she's going to carry it. Then that means that, saving $200 on the gun and it stays in the closet versus pay a few extra. And a lot of firearms, basically, those things are going to last a lifetime. So while they may be priced to the same as say an iPhone, right? And we change those out every couple of years because they just age out, or we drop them or whatever. The cell phone, we replace in a couple of years. The gun we're going to keep years and years, and the really good quality guns you're going to end up willing to your children. They're going to stay in the family. So
and if they are brought into a store like yours and they can feel them out and then get trained how to care for them, use them, and have this explained to them that if I spend this little extra money, this is a gun that's made to last. It's
exactly. And we focus on making the women independent with their guns. Like yourself, you said that you were newly single, and you needed to, you seriously needed to consider some sort of defense. So women sometimes, when they're fortunate enough to have a loving husband who's all excited that she's into guns, he wants to do everything for her. And that doesn't really help her. So if he's constantly loading her magazines and working the slide on the gun, she's not getting that experience. And she needs to learn how to do it independently. Doing these things independently also gives her more confidence and empowerment. So now she can handle this gun. She knows she can by herself. If he's on a business trip and she needs to change magazines or do something, she's going to know how to handle that gun.
So what are some of the women that come into your store? What are some of the stories that you hear of why they're thinking about purchasing a firearm?
We've heard a wide variety of stories, and they're really sad. And these are women who were victims of crimes, horrible crimes. Some of them will just sit down and they'll talk because, again, it's the environment, and we take our time. And one lady was she was raped, and she didn't want to be a victim again. And I think that's what a lot of women say is, listen, I'm here because I don't want to be a victim again. We have a lot of ladies who come in who are victims of domestic violence, and they are in the process of or don't know where to turn next, and they need a restraining order. And we recommend them to a local women's shelter who has a great reputation working with women and helping women. And so we reach kind of beyond just being a gun store. We're kind of like a place for women to be safe and to make themselves safe. And the women who come in, especially in a domestic violence situation, what we'll do is we'll work with them and give them more attention. We give all our customers a lot of attention, but those women, whether our next concealed carry class is full or not, those women are put in the very next class so that we can get them trained as quickly as possible. Then what we do is we will work on them a little bit more just so that they're a little more comfortable, so when they go home with their firearm, they're able to load it and use it if they need to protect themselves or a family member until their concealed carry permit comes, and that's when they can actually carry the gun. But I'd like to see some legislation. Again, this is kind of something I've had this in the back of my mind for a while, but I would like to see some legislation, and I want to work with a senator on this, to have women who already have a restraining order against somebody, a protective order, to be expedited in the background check system. And they would basically go to the top of the pile or the top of the list in order to have their concealed carry license expedited on the state level. And I think that's important, is to make sure that we're protecting these women.
Yeah. I can, and I just want to express what I'm seeing for those that are listening and not viewing the video. Is I can see how this is really close to your heart. I can see it in your eyes, and I can feel your compassion. And so it's a wonderful service that you're giving to women that are in need, to feel empowered, but also protect themselves and their families. Is it a concern about children in the house with having a gun in the house? There's
a lot of women, and they're not sure. They'll come in for advice and say, I have kids in the house, but I'm really frightened. I have good reasons, and they'll share their reasons. And so we talk to them about the children's ages and the options that are available for locking up a firearm. The attitude that they need to have is that firearm is never left out and around for the kids to have access to. And then we also talk to them about a program that we have in the store, and we're going to be bringing that back here too in the next few weeks, and that is a child safety video for firearms.
Oh, that's lovely.
And we have a little class, and our next door neighbors, Pizza Vola, will actually give a little certificate for a slice of pizza and a soda after the class. And the kids will learn about gun safety, which is basically not handling any firearms, but basically it's just going to be, what do you do if you see a gun or you find a gun? You stop, you don't touch, and you tell a grown-up. And it basically brings that to the child's level, so children understand, all the way down to, we're talking 2 years old. I've seen kids in the class, and they're picking it up because it's a song. It's a song that the grown-ups is basically, it's going to haunt you the rest of the day. It's one of those little nursery rhyme songs. But
that's how children learn.
But that's it. It's very effective. And then we're going to be introducing classes for older kids up to middle school age kids. The importance of handling or not handling a gun without an adult. You never handle an adult without, sorry?
I know.
You never handle a gun.
Yeah.
You never handle a gun without an adult present.
Yes.
So, and the older kids need to understand that and realize it.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I taught in schools for a while, middle school and then elementary, and I had a little child in pre-K who the next year I noticed a change in him and found out he had gotten the hold of the parent's firearm, and luckily nothing fatal happened, but you could see how just, So the importance of teaching not only the parents and how to, that's why education
absolutely
around firearms is so essential. You know, don't just go into a store, buy it, and not understand it. Yes, you have to go through the background check, but keep your education going.
Absolutely.
And I knew before I even bought a firearm, I found my trainer, and I'm going to feature her, but I said, before I even buy one, I want to know everything about this, about the safety, about how it works. I want to see if I even fire it. There's the 5 rules of gun safety that I want to go over. Because, you know, I got to see. I don't even know where I wrote it down. Oh, here it is. So the first one is always keep firearms pointed in a safe direction.
Yes.
So even like I'm showing like a little dummy gun. It's orange. Is there a name for this? I'm so bad about terms. It's just a practice.
It is.
Firearm.
It's solid piece of plastic. It's not a real firearm. So.
Yep. So.
But it's the exact same shape and molded from an actual firearm.
Yes. So this is a Glock, correct?
It is. It's a Glock 17.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I train on this, and I take this home with me, and I practice. But even with this, I pretend like it's a real firearm. I don't point it around just to get me in that habit, because what she explained is what you're pointing at, you are going to destroy.
Absolutely.
You are going to kill it, and that's how it should be treated. The second is treat all firearms as if they were loaded. So even if you think, that magazine's not in there. It happened to me in training. Like I put it down and said, "Oh no, it doesn't have the magazine in." And she said, "Check it," and it had one in the
chamber.
In the chamber, and I started crying. Yeah. Right, but it was learning. Yeah, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have shot you. So it was treat all firearms as if loaded. Number 3 is keep trigger finger outside the guard and off the trigger until you are ready to fire. My trainer calls it the booger hooker. Yep. And she goes, it just migrates down there for no reason.
Keep your booger hook off of the bang switch.
Yes. Because it can misfire. And she said it's going to happen probably eventually. So it's training. It's training your body.
It's muscle memory. And it's also ingraining in your mind. You always handle the gun the exact same way.
Yes.
Whether you think it's loaded or not. And I think that I really can't drive home far enough. These safety rules are not just beginners' rules.
No.
These are rules for advanced people. There are law enforcement, people over in combat situations. Mm-hmm. You never point the gun at anything you don't want to destroy. You keep your finger off of the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Mm-hmm. And it's just so many people get careless. And when you get careless is when people get hurt. So you always, every time I find myself when I'm training in a class and I've got my plastic gun, I have a hard time breaking the rules and pointing that gun in an unsafe direction because I've got the muscle memory in my brain. Every time I handle a gun, I'm handling it the same way.
Right.
So and that's what everybody needs to do. And I just can't drive that home far enough because so many people get careless and I see it all the time.
Yeah. And we're going to do the last 2 rules after this break. So we're going to go into our first break, and I'm going to feature I thought I was prepared. Sorry. The badass business. So our badass business for this episode is Dr. Haig John. He is your family chiropractor in Melbourne. We had Dr. Haig on last episode. He is just a wonderful person and wonderful doctor, big-hearted. We only have big-hearted badasses on this show, right, that are shining their light in the world. He serves all ages in his local practice as well as people internationally through many heart-centered projects and endeavors. So he works on infants, children, and adults of all ages. He is also a fantastic teacher and speaker, Call Dr. Haig. He's in Melbourne, Florida, 3217-225846. His website is www.getchiro.net. We'll be back in just a minute.
Are you new to a leadership position? Are you finding it hard to deal with certain personalities in the workplace? Maybe you're trying to reshape your organizational culture to increase your retention, your readiness, as well as your performance of your individuals on your team. Hi, I'm Stephon Williams with High Bull Leadership and Development Training. I welcome you to contact me to kind of explore some things that we can do to help you with your people needs. We're in the business of human capital performance on the professional side as well as the personal side. If you're looking for a motivational speaker to open up your convention, contact StephonWilliams.com. If you're looking for someone that's going to help you redefine your own personal leadership style, contact StephonWilliams.com. If you're just looking to take your team to the next level, contact StephonWilliams.com, and that is STEPHON Williams.com. High Bull Leadership Development Training. We look forward to seeing, hearing, and working with you.
You're listening to Space Coast Podcast, home of the greatest podcasts on the Space Coast. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or having your own show, email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com.
Space Coast Podcast.
Talk hard!
All right, this is Trisha Schmalhofer here with BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics. I am here with the badass guest, Maria Dockery of Femme, Fatale Arms and Training. It's femmefatalearms.com is her website. Check it out. It's awesome. So, Maria, we were on number 3 of the 5 rules of firearm safety, right? And we're on number 4, actually. And because we are in agreement that education and safety and keeping up with it through your ownership of a firearm is very important. So number 4 is be certain of your target, line of fire, and what lies beyond your target.
Absolutely. You know, if you're going to use your gun in a defensive situation, you want to make sure that that bullet, you're accountable for every bullet that leaves your gun. And you want to make sure that if you're shooting at a bad guy in your house, that your kid's bedroom isn't directly behind them. So be aware of what you're shooting at, and make sure that what's behind is clear, for sure.
Yes, yes. Number 5 is always wear appropriate eye and ear protection when shooting and maintaining firearms. So I have the kind of ear protection that has like a speaker in there.
Oh yeah, they're magic.
Yes. So yeah, they really are. Like it muffles the firearm sound, but I can still hear my trainer. They really are magic. But this is wonderful, and this is a good brand. But I know, like, I go to an outdoor range, and they're very strict about eye protection. Like, you have to have eye protection.
Oh, sure. You only have 2 eyes. Why would
Yes.
you want to take any chances of injuring yourself or damaging your vision? Sure.
Yeah, yeah. So that's just important when you're practicing. Now, granted, if you're going to be firing in your home at an intruder, you're not going to have ear protection.
You know, you're not, but you're also going to be in a situation where you have the adrenaline flowing, and you're probably not going to really register that you're hearing the shots anyway. Yeah, you know, yes, you're exposing yourself to loud noises, but sometimes people will come into the store, and it kind of concerns me with some of the advice that's being given. Some women are told by some men, and it's kind of like old school thought, and that is that, you know, you're going to be using your gun in self-defense without hearing protection, so you need to practice without hearing protection. And I'll tell you what, that's a deal breaker for a lot of women. They're going to shoot one time. Their ears are going to ring. It's painful. It hurts. And then they don't want to touch the gun again. Now, that didn't accomplish anything, because the only time you should be shooting without hearing protection is when you are in a life and death situation and you have no other options. But when you're practicing, you always use your hearing and eye protection.
And just for safety reasons, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know even with the eye protection, like, and I'll wear long sleeves a lot because, you know, the casings. Forgive
they're
me if I
casings.
use the wrong terms, but they're hot. And normally they shoot out to the side, but sometimes, you know.
It's not sometimes, all the time. So all women have to be prepared. It will happen. It's not if it happens, it's when it happens. You are going to get that hot casing down the front of your shirt.
Yeah.
And the most important thing...
Into the girls.
The most important thing is that what you have to do is you have to keep your wits about you and put that gun down before you go after that hot casing. Now, we've all been burned by a splatter of bacon grease.
Yes, we have.
That casing is no hotter than bacon grease. And you certainly wouldn't drop the pan on the floor just because you got splattered, right? Keep your wits about you, set that gun down, and then chase after that hot casing. And that's really how people get injured all the time.
Yeah.
Is they just kind of completely forget themselves. And we're talking men and women both, not just women. So you really need to understand the gravity of a loaded firearm in your hands and really be on top of your game the entire time.
Yeah. You know, that brings up what we were talking in the beginning, and you said there is men that are coming in your store, a certain type of man that you're noticing is coming in. Can you explain who that is? Men
are welcome in our store. What we find is that men have the pressure of being a male. So it's assumed that they are born knowing about guns. And a lot of men don't know anything about guns, and they want to be walked through it just like the women. And we have absolutely no problem explaining the differences in caliber, the proper way to rack a firearm, and proper techniques. And men are welcome in every one of our classes. And we joke and we say only well-behaved men are allowed in our classes. So, and everybody laughs, and then the guy says, well, that rules me out.
Yeah,
but you know what? He takes the class with his wife. He gets a lot out of it, because even though our classes are focused on women and the female learners, it's not because our classes are dumbed down. Females tend to, and you mentioned this, you said before you bought a gun, you wanted to learn, how does the safety work? How does this work? What does this do? What does that do? That is exactly what we cover in our classes. A lot of men will have a tendency, and I'm not bashing men here, but okay, I'm giving them a little push. Okay.
We don't want a men bash, but
a lot of, I love men. I'm married to one.
Yes.
I do. But, so a lot of men will pick up a firearm, look at it, and go, oh, trigger, bang, hey, I got this. And they're done. And women, we pick up the gun and we go, well, wait a minute. Well, before I pull the trigger, what does this do? What happens? What happens if I push that? Does this thing move at all when I'm doing? We have all those questions. And that's what we do, is we go through all of that. We encourage questions in our classes. We have a basic firearm use and safety class, and that class exceeds the Florida minimum in order to get your concealed carry. And we have a majority, usually half the people in that class already have their concealed carry license, but they don't have the confidence and the knowledge that to feel comfortable carrying their firearm. So it really works. It really nails it as far as the women go, and the women walk out going, okay, that was fun. So I actually teach the classes. So I do the classroom portion, and they sit for 2 hours. And I've had women say, that didn't feel like 2 hours. That was so much fun. And we cover a lot of things. And we actually teach to the NRA and what law enforcement is training to right now, as well as competitive shooters. So it's a great curriculum that's blended and everything is brought together to really give a solid foundation for these new shooters to continue with their education, firearm education, and just continue to grow as firearm owners.
Definitely. I think the first time I actually fired an AR-15, and I want to dispel a misconception. AR-15s are not assault rifles. Because that's the first thing. Oh, this is an assault rifle. It's an automatic. It's AR. No, that's not. It's a semi-automatic. It's not.
And it's really unfortunate, but I think that a lot of the misinformation in the media is really beginning to soak in, whether we realize it or not. And AR stands for Armalite rifle. It does not stand for assault rifle, automatic rifle. It is Armalite. Armalite is the name of the company that designed Model 15.
Yep.
AR-15.
The first time I shot that, I learned all about it. And my trainer, Jay, you're going to see a picture of her coming up.
She's excellent.
I know.
I love Jay.
She's just fabulous. She has me do like CrossFit stuff and then fire because of the stress factor. She's like, when you are under stress, you get tunnel vision, you forget, and muscle memory will have you shoot properly. So she's an excellent trainer. But she showed me everything, and I was about ready to fire, and I said, I don't know if I can do it. And so I had her fire while I held her shoulder and felt what the sound was going to be, how much, and then after I felt that, I did it. Do you ever have women like cry or have a really like emotional experience after they fire for the first time?
Very often. We will have women, and of course these are usually women who have suffered some sort of a trauma that's driven them to want to get a concealed carry and learn to shoot a firearm. And it happens very frequently. And, the tears will start running. And our instructors, what's great about our program is our instructors work one-on-one with all our students in the basic class. So if somebody is having a little bit of an emotional reaction to pulling the trigger the first time, the instructor will just, you want to put the gun down, you want to go sit down and take a few minutes. And I'm going to say 99% of the time, the woman will say, nope. She wipes the tears, takes a deep breath, and she goes, I'm going to do this.
Yep.
And she pulls the trigger, and the smile and the, okay, I did it. I got through that first bullet. And we are beside you the entire time. And the women just, it's amazing. And even the class itself, you can see the students bond with one another, and they're all strangers. Yeah. And it's like they've gone through something together, and it's just a great experience for them.
Yep, women's empowerment professional.
That
says it right there. So we have to take another break. God, I could just talk to you forever. There's so much we didn't even cover. I'm going to have you on again.
I'd love that.
So I'm going to go into, we have, our feature is a badass human, and we just kind of mentioned her, Jay Hazelette. She is we joke, my zombie apocalypse trainer, because she's like, we're going to train about zombie apocalypse, not just firing a weapon. So we talk about bug out bags and knives and just even like plants you can eat if the world comes to an end. So she is my fabulous trainer, and she has helped me embrace my inner badass through working with her. And overcoming my doubts and fears, like we just talked about, that I am going to do this, and that feeling that comes from that. So we have a picture of her, but I don't know if we didn't find it. So if not, we can maybe pull that up on the break coming back in, okay? So stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Are you in the market for a new home? Perhaps you need to sell your old home and downsize, or relocate. Hey there, my name is Jesse Hall with eXp Realty, and I offer professional real estate services right here on the Space Coast. Give me a call, 321-877-8737 for all of your real estate needs. Again, 321-877-8737 for all of your real estate needs. Buy, sell, invest with the best. Find out more at 321-buysellinvest.com.
All right. This is Doug Monda.
This is Karen Monda.
And Chris Hadaway.
And we're the host of Survive, the new podcast brought to you by the Survive First Foundation, a nonprofit organization assisting first responders and their families in need of mental health support due to the lifestyle of being a first responder. So, Chris, tell us what we're going to have.
We're coming to you from retired and active law enforcement officers as well as their spouses to discuss the responder life.
Don't forget, this is an unedited and raw podcast, so we need your interactive suggestions and advice to help us help others.
So find us live on our Survive First Facebook page and join in the conversation, or find us on demand on Spotify, iTunes, or anywhere you listen to podcasts from the Space Coast Podcast Network to you.
All right, this is Trisha Schmalhofer with BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics. I am here with Maria Dockery from Femme, Fatale Arms, and training. So, Maria, we've been talking about some very nice, hot topics, good topics. Mm-hmm. So, I want you to tell everyone, why is it that you opened your own gun store?
Well, I'll tell you, my husband travels for business a lot. And my kids grew up and moved out, and I was left with 3 little foofy dogs. And in the area that I was living in, probably 6 years ago, there was a string of home invasions, and these individuals were breaking into the houses through the sliding glass doors in the back, while the homeowners were awake and watching TV. That concerned me greatly, and I told my husband, I said, "Listen, I think I need a gun," and he goes, "Oh, go get one." Okay, so this is on the phone while he's traveling. And so I decide, well, I'm an intelligent, independent woman. I can go out and buy a gun for myself, right? Well, little did I know that I was up against a culture, a firearms culture, that wasn't really very well receiving of women. And when I would ask for advice, I visited several gun stores. And when I'd ask for advice, I would be told, "Lady, this is the gun for you," and I'd be handed a .22 revolver. Another fellow was, "Lady, this," and we'll talk about my feelings of .22s here in a little bit.
Okay.
Everybody who's been in my store has heard Maria's spiel on how she feels about .22s. And then, another guy I'd go into another store and they'd say, "Well, lady, this is the gun for you," and turn around and walk away. And I'd be like, well, wait a minute. I've got questions. What is it? How do I do it? And he'd look at me like, will you stop bothering me? Then I'd be treated like I was a little girl in pigtails, and they just didn't want to bother, spend their time on me.
They call you honey or sweetie.
Yeah,
And,
you're not going to understand the real terminology, so let me dumb everything down for you, and all you have to do is just pull the trigger on this revolver, and you're going to be fine. I didn't want a revolver. And then one store I went to, and I'm standing at the counter, and the clerk is waiting on a gentleman to my left. And I wait my turn, and then a gentleman walks up on my right, and the clerk goes over and waits on him. And I'm like, well, maybe he was here and shopping, So I waited till he was finished, and I'll be darned if another gentleman walked up, and the clerk walked right by me again, and didn't even wait on me at all, didn't even acknowledge my presence. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? I'm not going to buy a gun from here. And I was really disappointed. And I thought, well, if I'm having this problem, so are other women.
Right.
And so when I get angry about things, I guess I wasn't just, I was more than disappointed. I was angry. And when I get angry about things, I take it into my own hands. I'm going like, how do I change this? I want to make a difference. I want to fix this. So I told my husband, I want to open a gun store for women, and I want to focus on women first. And we are more than happy to wait on men and answer their questions and and take their money. I'm a businesswoman. I'm going to take a man's money just as fast as I do a woman's money. But so we talk to the women. If you come in with your husband, we're going to be talking to you and answering your questions, and we're going to be focusing on you. We're not going to have you competing with him with questions and so forth. We're going to make sure that you get what you need from the experience.
That's right. How many years ago was this?
We've been in business for 5 years.
5
It's 5 years in August.
Okay, and same location for 5 years?
Believe it or not, we started off in the flea market, the Renegers Flea Market.
Oh, yeah.
And we built quite a little reputation and name for ourselves there. And every year that we were there, we doubled in size. We started off in a place not much bigger than this studio. And it was just overwhelming success. A lot of people just loved it, loved the aspect, loved the way we approached firearm sales.
Yes.
So
the name of your store is Femme, Fatale, Firearms and Training, or Arms and Training. Yep. So what kind of, besides the basic class for concealed carry, what other classes do you provide? Or what other training?
So we have the basic class, which is the just learning. I've never touched a firearm before, or I've had limited experience, or never had any formal training with a firearm. That's a great class. And that one also will qualify for a concealed carry permit. You'll get a certificate to be able to apply for that in the state of Florida. Then we have Form and Accuracy, which is a class that you can take. That's probably going to be the class that you have to take before you can take any of our more advanced classes. Once you take Form and Accuracy, then our instructors are working with you. We're developing your technique. We're assessing you and your abilities and your safety, just the way you conduct yourself on the range. So basically, to be in our classes beyond that, we have 3 skill builders. We have a shooting group that meets monthly, and we also have defensive tactics, which is also an advanced shooting, moving, cognitive involvement in that training as well. But you have to take our first class so that we know that you're safe. So it's going to keep you safe, keep other people safe. We get that information out there. And again, our instructors are all the same people. So the people that you trained in your basic class are going to be working through. We've had one instructor's been with us 3 years, the other one 5. And the one that's been with us 5 years she is a retired SWAT sniper from Massachusetts. So she's just incredible woman.
Badass.
She is, and you'd never know it to look at her. You don't have to wear your badass on the outside, and I think we kind of give you permission to be a badass, but you can still look and act like a girl, and your badass comes out just when she needs to protect you. But you don't have to walk around with a chip on your shoulder or in camo pants all the time in order to be a badass. And we're kind of changing the face of what a badass looks like.
That's right. Because, a badass woman, we were saying this, like, you have a heart of gold, you're compassionate, you love what you do, but you are a badass. But it's like, it's knowing when to step into that badassery, like full on. And even the fact that in your store you sell like pretty purses, it's like, I just saw, it was a Facebook Live you did where you're unpacking all the purses that were all like, girly.
And they're all concealed carry purses.
Yes.
They all have a pocket in there for concealed carry. And I can't stress it enough. If you're going to carry your firearm in a purse, make sure the purse is designed for concealed carry.
Right.
Because they have a compartment. It's a Velcro patch that's built into the purse, a holster that goes on that patch, and then your firearm goes into the holster. And that really reduces the possibility of any sort of an accidental or negligent discharge because your gun is properly holstered. Putting it in a regular purse and carrying it around really isn't recommended.
It's
I don't think that's
dangerous.
safe.
Yes. And a lot of women don't want to wear it on their body because it's, cumbersome or...
It is.
Some may.
It's not comfortable, but some of us carry our firearm on us because if I don't want to be looking for my purse or digging into my purse, I will in certain situations in an environment where I say I'm dressed up and I'm carrying my gun in my purse. My purse is on my shoulder the entire time. So you're going to know if my gun was in my purse right now, my purse would be on my shoulder during this interview.
Right.
But and that's another thing that women need to be aware of. You're responsible. Well, women and men, if you're owning a gun, you're responsible for who gets their hands on your gun.
That's correct.
And if you've got your gun in a purse and you set it on the floor here, and I, walk to the ladies' room and somebody else comes in and gets my gun, I own that. So you really want to make sure that if the gun's in your purse, it's on you all the time.
Right, because if you leave your purse like hanging on the chair while you go over here, your gun is
Absolutely.
now right there.
Oops.
Accessible
I
to
didn't know
anybody.
this kid was going to come into the room. I didn't know there were kids here. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know, or I didn't know is not an excuse. The gun's got to be with you the entire time. And then sometimes if you want to wear a dress, you can wear a belly band. I'll wear my gun with a belly band under a dress. And then, and I do speaking engagements. So I'll wear a dress when I do that. And I'll kind of just hold the silhouette of my shirt to show, hey, my gun's right here. I saw that look on your face.
Yeah, I love it though. I'm like,
right here. It's right here.
She has her gun here. Yeah.
And of course you got a woman in the back, and she's going, excuse me. And she, well, if you got it in a belly band, how do you get your gun out?
Yeah.
Well, listen,
You hike up your dress.
if my life's in danger, I
Yeah.
could care less if you see my underpants.
That's
okay,
right,
that
that's
dress
right.
is coming right up, and the gun's
Are
coming
you
out.
wearing underpants though?
Always.
I'm commando, and
No.
it's another way of looking at the term commando. So yeah, let me just say we are going to take our last break, and I'm going to just acknowledge there are some comments that we're going to address at the end of the show. There actually is a comment by Sheila.
Great.
Hi Sheila, and Joanna, I see you too. So we'll address that when we come back. So grateful you're listening. But the last thing I want to feature a badass nonprofit organization called the Sebastian Foundation for Animal Rescue. This is a foster-based rescue in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and they do not have a shelter. But Amy and Tim have hearts of gold and a deep willingness to find these furry friends their forever home. Find them on Facebook, the Sebastian Foundation for Animal Rescue, and the phone number is 610-306-4541. They're always taking donations, and I know this for a fact. This is actually my brother and his wife, but they will travel to a whole nother state if they get word that an animal is in need
Oh, that's
of
wonderful.
rescue. And they have a whole network of foster parents,
That's
and they
incredible.
will find homes for these furry friends. So stay tuned. We'll
Good
be back
people.
in just a minute.
Hey, I'm Vinny with the all-new Vinny Marino podcast. I want you to join me every other Monday as we tackle all the craziest headlines from around Florida and truly explore and uncover what's missing. Also, we will invite the exciting guests from our community who have seen it all and aren't afraid to spill the beans about it. And finally, we can't forget about Vinny's top 3 rants and raves about traffic, restaurants, and events. Join us on Facebook as we go live and bring you behind the scenes of each show and let you be a part of it. The Vinny Marino Podcast, all Space Coast, super raw and unedited, straight to your dome all the time, live from the Space Coast Podcast Studios. Listen everywhere you find podcasts.
Hello, America. We are Ruthless Politics, Vladimir Putin's favorite podcast.
Hello, American podcast listeners. I am Vladimir Putin. I like this podcast. I like this guy Trees. Kid Groening, not so much.
Tune in every Tuesday for Ruthless Politics Podcast, live from Moscow. Just kidding, folks. Live from the Space Coast Podcast Studios in sunny Florida.
No, but for real, every Tuesday, check it out. And you could see it on the YouTube, the Facebook, and the Twitter and Instagram.
All right, this is Trisha Schmalhofer coming back. This is BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, Mystics. We have just such a badass show today. And Maria is BAM. She's a badass, an alchemist, and a mystic because she just is. She's all of it. So, all right. So I just want to say that you were featured in some national magazines. One this year in May of 2019, the Shooting Industry magazine. They did a feature of 3 female gun store owners. Correct?
Yeah, and I think the other 2 might have been ranges too. So they had the store and the range.
Okay.
And I still believe that I'm the only one that was focused mostly on or focused all on women. So it was a ladies' gun store where
the other 2 were female owners, though.
They were female owners. They had a little bit of a lean towards women, but my focus is women.
Okay.
And there's really I
Yep.
be surprised if there was 3 of us in the nation, to be honest with
Right.
you. We're really this is a very unique model.
Yes.
And I just love what I do.
It's incredible. It's a unique. That's why you're a mystic, because you had to make this happen. Mystics bring ideas in from other realms and then make them a reality. So that is you.
Cool.
Did you know you were a mystic?
I did not. I just learned that, but it fits. Okay.
The other thing. The other magazine was Expressions. Is that correct? Magazine.
Yes.
We have her hubby over here. We're trying to get him on camera because he's an armorer at Femme, Fatale Arms and Training, and it's Richard, right? Richard Dockery.
Richard. Yeah, he's an advanced armor, or an advanced Glock armorer, which means he's gone to 2 trainings and 2-day trainings. So it's just a very in-depth. So he can do anything to a Glock without within the factory warranty. He can provide all warranty services.
So repair, cleaning, is
Absolutely.
that what? Yeah, that's
all
what
of
we're
it.
talking about. So not every gun store has an armorer. Correct?
No.
So that's something unique.
And last week he was up in Exeter, New Hampshire at the SIG Academy, and was actually receiving training on the 1911. So not just SIG 1911s, but all 1911s. And again, now he can perform factory authorized services on those firearms.
That's awesome. That's badass.
It's
Badass, Richard. So some of our comments that one is Joanna Salerno. Hi, Joanna. She was my first guest.
Hi, Joanna.
And she's Jessie, our producer's mom. She's learning so much. So, yes.
Awesome.
We're full of information here. So, Sheila Suzanne, when I lived in Maryland, I attended an event put on by the NRA called Women on Target. We spent the day learning the different types of guns, gun safety, and then the fun part, getting to shoot all types of guns, including a .50 cal. It was badass. That's something I would attend annually. Well, Sheila, guess what?
Yeah.
So tell us about the Annie Oakley Festival.
Last year in February, we had our first Annie Oakley Festival because we wanted to bring the experience to more people. So we wanted to put it in a festival environment. That way there was something for other family members to do. But basically what we do is we give a safety introduction, firearms handling, and then for people who've never handled a firearm before, they'll actually be able to shoot different firearms. People who have shot firearms before and want to try something new, we're going to have those available too. So last year was our first year. We've taken a lot of feedback from the people who attended, and it was extremely well attended. We capped it at 200, and we ended up having 240 people there. So, and there were still more going, why can't I come? So this February, I want to say it's February 8th. It's a Saturday. We are going to have our second annual Annie Oakley event, and you will have an opportunity. Yep, February 8th.
Yep, 2020.
2020. Yeah. And so we're going to have opportunities to shoot an AR-15. So if you've never shot one, like you said, you were a little concerned. But tell me, when you shot that AR-15, it was a little bit, What,
it actually,
wasn't quite that big. It was played up to be bigger than what it was.
The bang was a little louder, probably.
It's loud, yeah.
But the kickback, or the, what's that called?
Yeah,
It's
the recoil.
The recoil, yes. Sorry, Jay, I got that wrong. It wasn't that bad.
It's not. And and I talk to women all the time. We actually have a class, the AR experience, and we call it the defense rifle because it's not an assault rifle. We want to use it as a defense rifle. And in that class, we talk to women and we're like, nobody wants to be the woman in the video where she pulls the trigger, the gun flies out of the air, she falls on the ground, and all the people are standing around laughing. Nobody wants to be her. And that's cruel to do that to a person. It really is. It's disrespectful, and somebody could get hurt. So when women are handed an AR-15, they're thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be horrible. I'm terrified, and it's not that bad.
It isn't.
And that's what we're going to do is we're going to offer an experience. You can shoot that. So it's going to be a day full of experiences with firearms, different handguns, different calibers, different rifles. We're also working with the Palm Bay SWAT team. And we worked with them last year, and we had this cool, it was a SWAT experience. And we came up with our with our own I'm not sure what the term is, but we, instead of a strategic, what is it? Special weapons and tactics is what SWAT really stands for.
Yes.
Okay. We got sandwiched women among testosterone. Okay. So
did they mind?
So, well, let me tell you. So the women could purchase a shoot house experience with a SWAT team.
Oh.
They would use just air rifles. And the SWAT team would go through the shoot house there at the range where we have the Annie Oakley event, and they would go through the rooms and clear the rooms with the woman, and she'd have all the gear and everything. It was a great experience, and it raised money for the SWAT team. So what we decided to do was talk to other nonprofits who had an experience to bring to our range for this Annie Oakley event, and then they would get the money. So people get a great experience. The organization can raise some money, and it's all fun, and it kind of increases knowledge and experience for everybody there. We'll have food. We'll have, I think we're actually going to have the automatic rifles too, so you can shoot a machine gun.
Oh, wow.
We had that experience last year. So you can pay to shoot a machine gun. You can shoot a shotgun. So you can try a lot of different guns. And again, that money is going back into the community. The Palm Bay Police Explorers benefited from our program. The SWAT team did. And then the I'm Dana Packard's group. Dana, I am so sorry. Victim Services. Of Palm Bay also.
What do they provide? What's that?
So victim services is basically for somebody who may have been victimized in a crime. There's really no funds available to say if her door was kicked in by somebody trying to get into the house and committing a crime. They would actually pay to repair the door. They would just help these people, help make them whole, I guess, or just make it safe for them to return home after a crime.
Oh, okay. So that's where the money's going for this year, Annie Oakley?
So it is. That's where it went last year, and we're going to do it again. I have reached out to Women Behind the Badge, and I've talked to them, and so I would love to see them bring an experience, and I know that Janine Dodson is the Brevard County Chief deputy fire chief. And so maybe we can get a fire truck experience. Somehow they can get creative. And again, whatever it costs for the ticket to do their experience, that money will go to
right
their
to
charity.
Yes. That's wonderful. That's wonderful because people want the experience of maybe even just firing for the first time, or instead of like going to purchase a gun that they don't even know how they're going to like it or not like it. I didn't know the difference between a rifle and a shotgun until I started working with Jay, and she was explaining, what that is, and that a shotgun's totally different. I've never fired a shotgun, but it just, and then you also work with pistols, revolvers, all
Absolutely.
That's there?
We give all of those experiences. You can try it out because women are curious. And you know what? Men are welcome in this program too. So guys, you're welcome to join the women. And a lot of times we have couples who make a day of it.
Yeah.
So, and I just think it's a great experience, and I can only see it getting better. We'd like to have some car groups in there, so maybe some car shows or something for people to just kind of walk around. So if you have a nonprofit organization and you have an off-road Jeep club or something like that you just want to kind of come and show off your really cool vehicles, and do it for a good cause, reach out to me. And I will be more than happy to get you plugged in.
So the Annie Oakley Badass Festival. Because, big trucks and all that. So how, if they do want to reach out to you, either to learn more, to schedule a training, or to get with you for the Annie Oakley Festival, which again was Saturday, February 8th, 2020. And that festival, so what is your contact information?
Sure. Well, you can reach out to me at maria@ladiesgunstore.com. You can also call me at 321-609-1342. That's my personal cell, by the way.
Uh-oh.
And
it's out there.
It's out there. And
if you're calling from California, just remember you're behind on the time, so call her at 2 a.m. our time. I want to just say the Annie Oakley Festival was spotlighted in the NSSF, which is National Shooting Sports Foundation.
Yeah.
They
did a newsletter.
Yeah,
they did a newsletter, and a national newsletter, and there was an article on what we are doing and how we're getting people into, kind of introducing people into the shooting sports.
Wonderful. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. I could just keep going.
I know. It doesn't feel like it's been an hour already.
Maria Dockery, you have been a badass, wonderful guest. And
thank you so much.
Thank
you.
It's
my pleasure.
Thank you. And again, her website is femfatalearms.com. And you spell Femme, F-E-M-M-E, and Fatale, F-A-T-A-L-E, arms, A-R-M-S.com.
And another thing to throw it in there really easy, because people always forget those silent E's, ladiesgunstore.com will take you to the same page.
Oh, that's good to know.
Just
that's
making
easier.
it easy.
Ladies Gun Store.
I'm all about keeping it simple.
ladiesgunstore.com. Maria Dockery, thank you.